from Los Angeles, California. Hails just under 6 feet, and his opponent, no slouch here, the Iceman from the Yukon, 240 pounds, stands in at about 6'2" tall, and we are in for a battle. Your referee, Joe Farino. And what more can I say? Let's get going.
Well, Joe, this is the epitome of what the IWA is all about. Listen to them chanting for Jericho. You've got part of the crowd chanting for Freeze. This is just like in Japan. You just got two great athletes in there going head-to-head. You see Chris Jericho taking off that International Junior Heavyweight Championship belt. He won that for the War promotion in Japan, which is owned by Junshiro Tenryu, one of the greatest athletes in the history of Japan. He won that belt from Guido, one of the greatest Japanese junior heavyweights. And there you see Jericho doing his thing. Chris Jericho, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Still rocking and rolling, Joe.
I'll tell you what, he loves it when these fans get behind him. The Freeze has a pretty good, strong contingent of fans here as well. We're in for a good battle. The Iceman and the Lionheart doing battle this week. The IWA International Wrestling Alliance. You're not going to see any cartoon characters here. You're going to see some high-flying, rock'em sock'em wrestling action.
Well, both these guys are kind of high-flying wrestlers. Chris Jericho recently rated the #7 junior heavyweight competitor in Japan, and that's with the likes of Chris Benoit, Shinjiro Itani, Eddie Guerrero, and a lot of great athletes. So Jericho has really come a long way, and really Freeze is coming into his own. He's going to learn a big lesson in professional wrestling here from Chris Jericho, and I think we're going to have one heck of a match.
You're right. Might remember a couple of years back, Chris Jericho making his debut here in the area with none other than Lance Storm. They were known as the Thrill Seekers, and had a great future as a tag team. What happened?
One heck of a tag team, and you know they decided to go. Lance Storm spent some time in Europe. Jericho was dominating the competition in Mexico, and really I think Chris Jericho, I gotta give the guy some respect, and I've had problems with him in the past, but I tell you, he just wanted to do his own thing, and that's exactly what he's doing. So the tag team is no more great tag team, but they're both great singles wrestlers, and that's a hell of an escape from Eric Freeze.
You got it, and we're off and running. What acrobatics already? Off the ropes. Now he might have them. Small package. 2-count reversal by Freeze with a handful of tights off the ropes. And a nice arm drag takedown there. Jericho and Freeze doing battle. Oh, both of them.
For the drop kick, Joe. Both winning right back up. Boy, these are two great athletes we're seeing here. I hope I don't have to defend my title against either of these men soon.
Holy moly. The way these two men jump back up on their feet, they are raring to go. And now the Freeze taking a page out of the Lionheart's book. And I'll tell you what, I can't believe all the excitement already.
I tell you what, it's one of those pick-em matches, you know. It's like the over-under in football when you just don't know who to bet on. I can't even call this. These guys are very evenly matched. And Freeze is surprising me to stay with Jericho at this point in the match.
Can't believe that they say it gets that cold in the Yukon with this hot kid known as the Iceman wrestling up from there, now making his, well, I guess, debut here in the IWA, the International Wrestling Alliance, with Lionheart, Chris Jericho. Nice reversal there by Freeze. And these two men sizing each other up, but nice and quickly. And right back to work now, Jericho.
Okay, Jericho's got a cross face. It's almost a version of a choke sleeper, which is legal in the IWA. We'll get to that later. Some of the new moves that have been approved by the championship committee and by the board of directors. But you see now, Freeze has reversed that thing, Joe, into a chicken wing, and he's dropping the knees because Chris Jericho, the arms are really the strong point of Jericho. I don't know if I'd be going. I think I might be going for the leg.
I'll tell you right now, Jericho looking a little bigger, fatter, even better. Nice side kick there.
Oh, my God.
Those have to be some of those moves he learned in Japan. A couple of nice side kicks there.
Joe, those side kicks, those kicks that he did, those stiff kicks were made famous by Toshiaki Kawada. Oh, my God. Oh, did he lay that kick in? As I said, made famous by Toshiaki Kawada.
What was his name?
Toshiaki Kawada.
Almost sounds like the name some guy would be, or the words a guy would be yelling out after taking one of those kicks.
Oh, my God, Joe. I mean, he just looked like he just put the spine right through his belly.
That solid left arm of Jericho's wrapped nice and tightly under the chin there of the Iceman. 1 fall, 20-minute time limit. Action like you've never seen in the world of professional wrestling. This is wrestling of the 90s. It's the IWA shoulder block takedown there. Freeze now holding up. What happened there?
Jericho hit his head on the mat when he went down. Freeze was anticipating Jericho was going to get up. Jericho hit his head and stayed down, so Freeze had to alter his movement. Now he's got Jericho at a distinct disadvantage. And beautiful clothesline. My God, Chris Jericho could lose this match right here.
Yes, man.
He did not grapevine the leg in time. If you're going to get Jericho, you got to wrap him up.
Working over that arm now. Trying to grab a bit of a breather, maybe the Iceman. The action fast and furious this week. Sizing him up with that arm bar. Jericho now trying to get back on his feet. We mentioned it. 1 fall, 20-minute time limit. If you're just joining us, Irish whip. Oh, a kick. That would have been good for 3 points in any Canadian Football League matchup. Going to work on that leg now. Sizing him up.
He certainly kicks harder than Troy Westwood is kicking these days.
Westwood, one of the best in the league. Keep your mind on wrestling. Since when were you ever a football aficionado? Probably been kicked out of a couple of games.
Like the choke sweep or like the Achilles cannonball, which were previously illegal, are now being used, and sometimes the man is unable to speak.
Whoa! Talking about speaking.
Oh, he won't be speaking for a long time. He slapped his ass with those chops. Beautiful move, Joe. I'm sorry. I'm just getting so excited. I cannot believe.
Oh, comes the elbow. Came back with a good one. The Iceman and the Lionheart. Fast and furious action. 1 fall, 20-minute time limit. And I can't believe that these two young men have gone this hard and this far with a time limit like that. Unbelievable action. Picking him up. Slams them down now. Freeze.
I tell you what, no one's watering any horses in this match. And what is Freeze doing? You know, the crowd is really behind Freeze, but he's got to not be such an idiot and look out at the crowd because this is not what you want to do. Look out for Jericho! Oh, my God! My God!
Space flying drop kick right out of the Japanese books.
He nailed him with that thing. And Freeze hit his head, and I got to say, Joe, Eric Freeze not showing a lot of intelligence there. Looking out to the stupid peons in the crowd. Look at all those hillbillies in the front row there. He paid attention to the hillbillies, and he paid for it.
Well, I'll tell you what, you don't see any padding around the ring here.
Oh,
beautiful plancha! Unbelievable! The Lionheart, Chris Jericho.
Look at Jericho on it. Did you see the look of disdain he gave those hillbillies in the front row? You know, hey, maybe I was a little bit wrong about Jericho.
I'll be surprised. I can't believe that the Iceman is giving up. Eric Freeze. The recovery time of both these young men in this match has been unbelievable. Set him up here now. A suplex coming, maybe. Trying to get him up to the referee now in the middle of things. He's got him up high. The blood rushes to the head. And that one lands for Jericho.
It's done like dinner. You know, Joe, I'm noticing something in this match. The crowd is really not behind Jericho. He just didn't freeze that beautiful move. He looked out to the crowd. The crowd was non-responsive. Look at the big shot. Oh, my God, right in the pretty much of Chris Jericho.
I think he underestimated the recovery time we were talking about of the Iceman getting the legs up right under the chin. That could have knocked out Jericho.
Eric Freeze showed me something. He has improved about 300% from the last time we saw him.
Reversal coming now. Jericho and the Freeze moving out of the way. Where's he going? Up top now.
And have an Arabian face buster coming, Joe. This is a favorite move. Dr. Luther. We've seen Dr. Luther use that in the past. And this could be all. Jericho looks to be knocked out. But he's kicked out.
It would be all over for any regular superstar. Not a man made like the Lionheart. Chris Jericho showing a lot of courage. The Lionheart picking him up.
Oh, he chopped the legs. And now the tables are turned because Eric Freeze is in a whole lot of trouble. He's got nowhere to go. He can turn this into a Boston crab, or he can slingshot him. But Freeze loses footing but comes back with a beautiful cross body.
Unbelievable recovery time. It's
Slow
going
count. Slow count, Joe. Slow count.
He could have saved Jericho. They're unbelievable. Hard to call a match like this with the action.
Fujiwara armbar, Joe. That is a Fujiwara armbar.
You could break a man's arm. This would be known as a submission hold to most.
A submission. We may see Freeze tactics. You see, Jericho does not have that elbow hyperextended, and that is not a submission hold. It's very painful on the shoulder. But in order to hook the submission, you must hyperextend the elbow. And as you can see, the elbow is still bent. It's not a submission yet.
Nice close-up there from our camera crew here, and Freeze trying to make his way to the rope, and he did.
Smart move.
Very smart move. I'm going to have to agree with you on that. Might have saved himself a predicament there, or a loss for that matter.
Physique on Jericho. I mean, he is just, whoa, my God. Jericho is just put together, man. I mean, he is looking real good. And Freeze also, look at the shoulders on Freeze. These two men are both in incredible physical condition.
Oh, he got those legs up again. He caught Jericho slowing down near the end. A beautiful drop kick there. I'll tell you what, those Jericho chops remind me a lot of the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, a man that can land them. You can hear them all across the arena. Freeze now, still got a little bit left. I can't believe it. We got to be approaching the halfway. Holy cow!
It's a screw splash. That's one of my moves, Joe. And I cannot believe Chris Jericho You know, the screw splash that we just saw, an incredible move. Chris Jericho debuted that move in Tijuana, Mexico on a card for the EMLL Lucha Libre promotion. German suplex. Count him down.
He might have only
He's out the back door. Did he get him, Joe?
Only a 2 count, unless we get the signal. He did get him.
He got him with a German suplex, Joe.
The
That was a
referee
devastating maneuver.
counted to 3. Short victory there on the count, but I'll tell you one heck of a great match.
Look at the crowd. Jericho looks a bit put off with his crowd. They are not responding to him the way that he seems to. My God, well, you know, maybe Chris Jericho's not such a bad guy if the hillbillies don't like him.
What are you talking about? We'll get him more than that in a couple of minutes.
He is the Lionheart, Chris Jericho, your winner tonight. Well, Chris, an impressive win, and let me be the first to congratulate you and welcome you back here into the IWA.
Thank you very much, sir. Let me tell you something, and all these fine people out here right now. I just finished a very tough match with a very good competitor, Freeze, man. And I'll tell you something, it was very, very tough, and I'm happy to come out on top. But you know what, though? I've been all around this great world. I travel to Japan almost every month. I've been in Mexico. I've been in Germany. But my favorite place to wrestle is in Canada, especially in Manitoba.
Can we expect some of that, or can we expect you to chase the IWA heavyweight champion in the natural?
Well, you know something, Tony? You never know what's going to happen in the crazy sport of wrestling. I'm not currently a tag team partner with Lance Storm, but I would never say never, especially with a wrestler as good and as fine as he is. And as for the natural, as for Jerry Morrow, as for Great Gamma, all these guys have been around for a lot of years. These people have seen them. They know exactly what they can do. But I'll tell you something, those 3 guys don't know exactly what I can do. And I'm ready to challenge any single one of them at any time, right here for all their belts, because I know I can get the best of them. Yeah!
All right, there you have it, the Lionheart, Chris Jericho.
Third here on the International Wrestling Alliance Wrestling Network. You're taking a look at the IWA heavyweight champ, the Natural, having some words with some fans, and the fans are having some words with the Naturals. And you saw the sign, they're yelling the Natural sucks, and he does not like it one bit. We're supposed to be having an interview with the champ. He says he's been looking for the right man. I don't know what he's talking about. He says he needs some protection. He says there's a lot of wrestlers gunning for that IWA heavyweight title, the coveted gold, if you will. And that's what he's here for, entering the ring right now. And he's going to tell us what it's all about, the big surprise, maybe the shock of the wrestling world. But right now you can hear the fans again. You got to love it, ladies and gentlemen. The most hated man in the IWA. He is the champion. The wrestlers yell, or the fans yelling Natural sucks. I'm getting caught up in this one. Take a listen. He is having an aneurysm, maybe even a heart attack. He has had enough. He might not have anything left for this interview. We're going to have to get up to ringside here in just a second. My colleague, Tony Mariani, he's got a smile on his face. The Natural not taken too kindly to the great fans here in the IWA. Let's see what he's got to say about shocking.
Getting under your skin a little tonight, Natural.
What I'd like to have right now, is for all you ignorant, inbred, winkler, weedy hillbillies. Keep your big redneck mouths shut while I talk. You understand me? I'm going to give you a warning right now that when I come out in front of you peons, you don't chant Natural sucks at me when I come out. Show me some respect. I'm the champion.
Let me get down to the business at hand right now. You know, Rick the Model Martel Rick the Model Martel, shut up! Rick Martel has stated on national television, we've all seen it, that tonight he's gonna get me into the cage and he's gonna try to rearrange my beautiful face. We've all heard it. And I have no doubt that he is angry enough at me. He is psychotic enough, he's twisted enough to really do some damage to me. But, like I told all you hillbillies last week on television, I have got a big surprise for you hillbillies and for Rick the Model Martel tonight. So, without further ado, you know, you people might be familiar with a saying that says, do you want to hear the good news or do you want to hear the bad news?
Bad news? What is he talking about? The natural good news. Wrestling fans. That bad news, Alan, ladies and gentlemen, I can't believe it. The Natural wasn't kidding when he said he was going to drop a bombshell on you great fans of the IWA. We got to get to the bottom of this one. I haven't seen this man in at least 5 years. One of the most devastating, fierce competitors ever in the world of professional wrestling. Bad news, Alan, maybe joining forces with the IWA heavyweight champion, the Natural. What good news. This is bad news for wrestling fans and some of the great stars here in the IWA. Can't believe it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we all know that there's a lot of people in the IWA who would like to get their hands on the Natural. We all know that there's a lot of hillbilly punk Saturday night champions in the audience tonight that would like to put their greasy, filthy, stinking hands on my beautiful body. So, like every great quarterback, and make no mistake, I am the starting quarterback for the IWA. I am the marquee player. And you know, Matt Dunnigan made a career for himself by getting behind Chris Walby and hiding from trouble. So what I've done, like every great quarterback, I've got myself a real big bad dude to hide behind. Now you may ask yourself, if you're the IWA champion, why do you have to hide behind a man like this? Well, I'll tell you what, it's because I can. So you see, I could have gone out, I could have had anybody. I could have gone and got some karate idiot from some karate school. I could have gone out, got some bouncer. I could have gone out, got some weightlifter. But you see, those are guys like yourself whose ass I can already kick. So I thought to myself, I said, hey, Natch, you gotta find a man that puts the fear of God even into yourself. So I went out and I got the baddest man to ever walk the face of the earth or enter a professional wrestling ring. Bad news, Alan. Let me just give you some credentials. This man, the World Wrestling Federation, they conspired to get rid of him because he hurt Hulk Hogan. He kicked Randy Savage's ass in Winnipeg. This man, they tried to cover up for the fact this man is an Olympic medalist in judo. This man was the #1 ranked judo fighter in the world. This man puts the shoot into shooter.
This man is from the hood before being from the hood meant anything. This man is the double OG, original gangster. You know, I feel really good right now, Bad News. I'm feeling really brave, like I could take on Chris Jericho. I could take on Lance Storm. I could even take on Rick Martel. Hell, I'm even feeling like I could slap Hoist Gracie's Brazilian face right now, and I could win the ultimate fight because I've got you in my corner. So you see, Rick the Model Martel, this is my surprise. The baddest man, the man who backed down the late great Andre the Giant, the man who put fear in the hearts of every wrestling promoter and every wrestler in the world. This is the man who will take me to victory over Rick the Model Martel, because you see, Bad News and I aren't exactly the same kind of guy. Bad News is a loner. He doesn't like hanging out with guys like me. And you know, he might not even be my cup of tea either. But we're together for two reasons. Number one is money. You can take a look at the man and you can tell someone is paying him a lot of money. And the number two reason that we are together is a mutual hatred of Rick the Model Martel. And we are going to show Mr. Martel in the cage what it's all about. And Mr. Martel, you've heard the good news. Now you're going to get the bad news.
Let me tell you, Beer Belly Sharecroppers, a little bit of something, a little bit of history. It's true that I don't like most people. I'm a loner, I go by myself. But when the Natural called me up in my mansion in Harlem, the most important word he said, two important words he said, was Ricky Martel. I know that this man is a spineless cockroach who will lie, who will cheat, who will break every rule in the book to try to get over and win. Now, when he told me his problem, I said, there is no problem. All you have to do is get me a plane ticket, get me a limousine, and maybe back at the hotel, have me a little honey back there waiting, and I will be down here to take care of this model, Mr. Ricky Martel. Because we go back a long way. I never liked the man, I don't like the man, and I never will like the man. But the Natural, he's different from me, but one thing I like about him, he's natural. He don't need no steroids. He don't need no drugs. He goes out and he works out hard, and he likes to win at any cost. And this is my kind of man. So Ricky Martel, if you're back there listening, you better take a dime or a quarter, call up that ugly wife of yours and tell her you won't be home tonight, and make sure the insurance is paid. Because I guarantee you one thing, we, and I say we, when he gets into this ring and starts after the Natural and gets out of line and starts trying to break the rules like he usually does, we are going to give him a free trip to the nearest hospital, and he's going to be there for a very long time.
It goes like this. It's real simple. Bad News Allen is my bodyguard. He's my guardian angel, and I'm feeling pretty tough. You know, with him at my side, I feel like I could kick anyone's ass. Right. Because you want me, you gotta get through him, and that is the bad news from the Natural.
That was some unbelievably bad news for the competitors here in the IWA, and some very harsh words spoken to Rick the Model Martel, from the former Olympic medalist in judo, the toughest man in professional wrestling. Bad News Allen joining forces with the IWA heavyweight champion, the Natural, and now they're having words with the fans. Who knows what's going to happen next here on the International Wrestling Alliance? We're going to take a short break and come back after we collect our thoughts. Unbelievable. All right, wrestling fans, Joe Allo here with the IWA heavyweight champion, the Natural. You're taking a look at the IWA tag team champions on the left. left, of course, the great Gama. Gama Singh, 239 pounds from Karachi, Pakistan. His tag team partner, the infamous one, Champagne Jerry Morrow from the island of Martinique, weighing in at about 256 pounds. And there are their opponents, the mighty Pharaoh, 265 pounds from Cairo, Egypt, and Paul Apollo, 228 pounds from Winnipeg. And natural, the IWA Heavyweight Tag Team Champions making their presence felt here in the IWA as a tag team.
Oh, well, Joe, I'm so excited. I've been talking for months about how Jerry Morrow and Gama Singh are great friends of mine, and I was going to bring them to the IWA. And now they are here, and they recently won the IWA Tag Team Championship belts in Hanover, Germany. I was there for the card. They defeated the Hart brothers for it, and I'm so happy that they're here. They are one of the greatest tag teams in the world today, and they are our, and I do say our, IWA Tag Team Champions.
Nice to have you aboard on the IWA Wrestling Network.
Joe, show some respect. Great Gama is playing. Prostrate yourself, Ayala. Bow down.
You've got to be kidding me. You can see the religious ceremony from one half of the tag team champions, the great Gama Singh from Karachi.
Oh my God, Joe, what was that?
A little bit of fire, it looks like the Champagne Jerry Morrow. We'll see.
Joe Ayala, I'm going to warn you that if you continue to talk during his religious ceremony, you may wake up and be baying at the moon like a dog. He'll put a curse on you.
Well, I won't be celebrating with any of the Champagnes, Champagne or the Karachi, Pakistan native in the great Gama if they win this match against Paul Martel and the mighty Pharaoh. I believe their first time tagging up together. These two men, though, you can't cut them short.
Hi, Jerry. Hi, Gama. I'm so happy I could almost reach out and touch my good friend Jerry Morrow. You know, Jerry Morrow and I are like twin sons from different mothers. We think very much alike. He's been my senpai in the sport of professional wrestling. He taught me the bridge suplex. He's taught me a lot. Look at the face. He's just all business, Joe. You gotta love him. Jerry Morrow trained in Japan in a Japanese dojo for 4 years. One of the toughest men in professional wrestling. Jerry Morrow puts the shoot in the shooter.
Well, I'll tell you what, they make one heck of a tag team. I was saying you can't cut them short. Both men been around wrestling circles for a long time. A Champagne Jerry Morrow hooking up with the more powerful mighty Pharaoh, as you can see. And come on, Morrow should know better. This isn't a strength competition with him. He's got the wrestling savvy.
Yeah, Joe, I'll tell you what. Jerry Morrow is a master of psychology, and you see this idiot from Egypt standing there posing for all the girls in the audience. He's not in there with Mr. X this week. He's in there with one of the greatest wrestlers in the history of the sport, Jerry Morrow. And look at that. He just snatched him into that full Nelson.
And let's see now the mighty Pharaoh showing some mighty strength here, breaking out of that hole. Beautiful for the mighty Pharaoh. Look at the size, the physique of that man.
What an idiot. You know, there's no lower form of life than a bodybuilder, and that's exactly what we've got here. Jerry Morrow obviously doesn't waste his time doing bodybuilding techniques. Jerry Morrow is just playing tough, and we're going to see this bodybuilder crying out in pain and screaming like a stuck pig before the night is over, Joe.
He's got it locked off. One-arm takedown from the mighty Pharaoh.
Joe, don't laugh at the Champagne man. I tell you what, all I got to do is pick up a telephone and stooge you out, and you could be in a lot of trouble.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Champagne man might be quick to take the champagne out of the ice right now. He's having his hands full with the mighty Pharaoh, having a little conference with his tag team partner, but you can't cut them short. They are the IWA tag team champions. What the heck is Morrow doing now? Let's see Gama now.
Oh, yeah, there. Now they've got some manpower on the job.
Look at the strength of the big man from Egypt, the mighty Pharaoh.
See him pull the hair of the great Gama, the beautiful, long, flowing locks of Gama Singh. He wrapped it right around his fist and pulled the hair.
The long, flowing locks, is he parting it over to one side? He's a little bald in the middle.
Joe, are you crazy? Gama!
I'm just telling it the way it is. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard the IWA train. Coming straight at you here on the IWA Wrestling Network. And the Champagne man, I'm telling you, him and the great guy. Oh, look at this now. He's going back.
Yeah, he's got the guillotine. Now, if he slips this over the windpipe, this is the choke, and we will see this big man tap. I don't care how big he is. You get, oh, my goodness. He's
look at him, setting him up, setting him down now, the mighty Pharaoh.
Oh, boy.
Now, I don't necessarily think that was a good move on the part of the mighty Pharaoh, but a young man like that exudes a lot of confidence in the ring against the veteran.
There's one thing I hate. It's a cocky guy. I can't stand cocky individuals. And you saw him slap the face of Jerry Morrow, and I can't believe you just saw that.
We just saw a tag now. The other half, the great Gamma, the native of Karachi, Pakistan. You might remember him as being the leader of the Karachi Vice so many years ago.
Oh, yeah. Gama is like a CEO of a big corporation. He's like the Donald Trump of wrestling. Now, Great Gama is going to let this idiot blow himself up by posing all night, and then he's going to slap that Cobra clutch. You know about that hold, Joe. The Indian Cobra hold, or the Cobra clutch, as Gamma calls it, one of the greatest submission holds in professional wrestling, and he is the master.
No one has ever gotten out of that hold once the great Gamma has put it on. A lot of people tapping out, as you call it. Look at this, though. The mighty Pharaoh, very impressive against the veteran tag team, the champions, if you will, with Gamma Singh and Champagne Jerry Morrow. Yet to see Paul Apollo in this one.
Thank God for that. But, Joe, I'll tell you what, the great Gama and Jerry Morrow, they've never made their money in the sport of professional wrestling beating anyone in 5 minutes. Let's give the Pharaoh credit. The mighty Pharaoh is a big, strong guy. We saw him destroy a wrestler the other week. He's not gonna go out there and lie down for Champagne Jerry Morrow and the great Gama just because they are the IWA Tag Team Champions. But I'll tell you what, Gama and Jerry are both 60-minute men like myself. Well, Bill, there's a hip lock.
Hip cross takedown there. The Gamma in trouble now. The great Gamma outside taking a bit of a breather. And that is one thing that him and Jerry Morrow know how to do better than any other tag team. They know how to size down the ring, and they also know how to bring it back down to their pace. When things get tough, they slow it down, make a tag. They're taking their time in this one.
Joe, they're not in any hurry to get out of here tonight. They're going to play. They're going to feel everyone out. Now, Jerry Morrow says he wants to see this other kid in here. Now, we have...
Gentlemen.
Big, rangy-looking kid, kind of like a Kendall Windham. Oh, beautiful. This loser from Winnipeg just got the taste slapped out of his mouth by Jerry Morrow.
This is the psychology you're talking about with guys like Gamma and Morrow. Throw the young man off his game plan. Throw him a little insult by a slap to the face, and it seems to be working.
Well, let's face the facts. You know, this kid, this is his first match in the IWA. He's in there with the IWA Tag Team Champions. He's all excited. He's wired up. That adrenaline's flowing. Now Jerry Morrow slaps him in the face. Now he pulls him by the hair. This kid's going to lose his temper and make a stupid mistake. He doesn't look too bright to begin with.
Getting inside the wrong corner there, if you ask me, and it's going to be payoff time now. Look at this. Morrow now. Right.
What an idiot. See, I said this kid was going to make a mistake, and look at that. He's having the life choked out of him right now.
And Gamma and Champagne are going to work on him there. The referee is getting caught up in the middle. The mighty Pharaoh should be back in the corner. Look at Gamma going to work now. Come on, referee.
I'll tell you what, Gamma Singh and Jerry Morrow know how to work you over if they get you in their corner, Joe.
That's about 239 pounds on the throat there of Paul Apollo. And Champagne Jerry Morrow now's got him smack dab in the middle of the ring. And look at this Apollo kid trying to fight with the Champagne man. And he's got a couple of shoulder blows. Morrow with the big sledgehammer there to the back. Now let's talk about this IWA Tag Team situation natural. Who do we have to look forward to that might be able to take the titles away from your friends, the Champagne man and the great Gamma?
Beautiful takedown there by Jerry Morrow, Joe. Japanese takedown. But in terms of the tag team scene, it's never been stronger in the IWA. We've, of course, got the IWA Tag Team Champions, Great Gama, Jerry Morrow. We've also got a team coming out of Hell's Kitchen, New York, with a good friend of mine, Tim Flowers, leading that team, and they are called the Street Fighters, and I understand they've had a lot of success over in Europe recently, in England. We've also got a real hot team called the Thrill Seekers, Chris Jericho and Lance Storm. Now, we know Chris Jericho stated he's looking to be a singles wrestler, but at any time, the Thrill Seekers could always get back together, and they are one of the best teams in the world. So there's all kinds of tag team competition, Joe.
How about a guy like Rick Martel? He could take a formidable punch. Oh, neck breaker there. Reverse neck breaker by Jerry Morrow. One of the most devastating in all of professional wrestling.
Well, it looks like this kid doesn't exactly have a 20-inch neck. He may be getting fitted for one of those halos, Joe.
The kid is showing a little bit of fight, though. Paul Apollo, look at that. Domino with the choke, the shin right over the larynx, if you will. The referee referee catches on, and he's got the arm going now. And this is what makes this tag team so tough. They know how to break the rules. They know how to apply wrestling holds, and they know how to keep the game in their side of the ring. Look at this now. Gama with the big elbow that lands.
I tell you, Gama Singh is playing that referee like a cheap violin.
I'll tell you right now, Gama in full control with the champagne man. Paul Apollo's got to make a tag. The most impressive that tag team has looked has been when the Mighty Pharaoh kicked into gear. They didn't know what to make of him, and now they're going to work on Paul Apollo. Got to make a tag.
Well, obviously the strategy here was to goad this stupid little young idiot into the ring and get him excited, get him upset, get his dander up, get the fire going inside until when he made that stupid mistake of getting caught in the corner, and now they are just going to ride him all night long.
I'll tell you what, it might be a long time before these two gentlemen lose the IWA Tag Team Championships. Two of the most formidable opponents you'll ever face in the squared circle. I'm talking about Champagne Jerry Morrow. Neither one of these men really need an introduction, and the great Gama, two men that have been around wrestling circles for quite a while, and look at them. That is what we were talking about. Look at how they size down the ring. The referee, come on, he's going to make a tag. Referee, come on. The referee caught out of position there. They made the tag. Oh, I can't believe
Are you
this.
sure you saw a tag there, Joe? I think you may be seeing things again. Look at them. They're just working this kid over. Beautiful double elbow.
Double team effort.
Beautiful. Jerry Morrow had this kid hooked in the front chancery. The kid was going nowhere fast. He hooked Jerry Morrow by the tights, went in and tried to make a tag. The referee may have missed something, but that is what we talk about, the teamwork. There's no such beautiful knee drop to the head. There's no such thing as luck where Jerry Morrow and Great Gama are concerned, Joe.
It's been unbelievable how the talent has risen here in the IWA. You're going to be seeing some young superstars from all over the world, ladies and gentlemen. A couple of weeks back, you saw Lionheart, Chris Jericho make an appearance here. The man holds a junior heavyweight title. You were talking about that from Japan.
Well, you know, Chris Jericho's a great athlete and one of the best junior heavyweights in the world. And he can also compete with the heavyweights because he's put together like a brick you-know-what house. So here we go, Great Gama, another one of the, you talk about the young guys. Now we've got Jerry Morrow and the Great Gama, two great veterans. And you know who else we got, Joe? I haven't mentioned him because I know it gets you all excited. You start to trembling. You start getting scared. The hair stands up on the back of your neck. But we've got Bad News Allen, my bodyguard, my best friend. You know, I'm the toughest guy on the block when Bad News Allen is by my side.
Well, I guess so. That could have gone unsaid. I mean, the man is a former Olympic medalist in judo. You're not going to find him any tougher than that. That one sized up Apollo from the Great Gama. The referee caught out of position again. That is one of these things that Gama and Morrow do to their benefit almost every time they're in that squared circle. But let's keep talking about the talent. I mean, this is not like the cartoonisms of the World Wrestling Federation. You're not going to see the big powerhouses all the time that can't do anything in the squared circle. You're going to see guys that can fly in that ring, guys that can apply a lot of holds. You're not going to see the Hulk Hogan world of the WCW anymore. It's not.
Thank God for that, Joe. You certainly don't want to see anything the WCW has to offer. I'm not going to sit out here and knock the World Wrestling Federation because we all know that I was recently removed from the grounds of Titan Towers trying to meet Mr. McMahon. I have a lot of respect for him, but the bottom line, Joe, is as IWA champion, I feel confident in saying myself or Bad News Allen or maybe Chris Jericho or maybe Jerry Morrow and Gama Singh could kick the ass of just about anybody in the World Wrestling Federation right now. I want to see the talent come here to the IWA and they will get their booty kicked and don't even talk to me about WCW, Joe.
All right, you heard the words of the IWA heavyweight champion making no comments on either of the two big federations, if you could call them that. Oh, big kick, Apollo coming to life. He makes the tag now. Mighty Pharaoh back in the ring. And some big-time trouble coming for the Champagne Man and the Great Gama. Look at the strength and a big man from Cairo. He is on fire. Irish whip now off the rope. Big back body drop that last. Pharaoh now with the clothesline, and both the champions are in trouble. This guy is a one-man wrecking crew.
He's crazy, Joe, and he's throwing close fists at Jerry Morrow. He's going to mess up the beautiful
We
hands
could
of
have the
fate.
champions.
That was a
Gama getting
beautiful
away.
Greco-Roman kick to the skull.
Greco-Roman, I don't remember reading about that. I can't believe they got. Oh, beautiful take over there. Look at him. Gama. Gama again coming to the rescue of his tank. Oh, I don't know if Apollo is ready to get back in there after that short order workout there from the Mighty Pharaoh. Now, we got all four of them in the
I
ring.
really don't think Apollo was ready for this type of competition when he got here. He's obviously a promising young but he's in there against two of the best, and as you can see, he's hesitant. He does not know what he does.
The turn of events here now. Gamma clothesline, and the mighty Pharaoh is outside the ring. It looks like he's out of it right now. That is a veteran move there, and I'll tell you what, I like the fight in this young Paulo, but he looks in some kind of trouble right now. You know what's coming.
At this point, they should put Everlast across his chest. He's just in a punching bag the last minute. Look at Jerry Morrow. This could be the Jerry Morrow. Psycho splash. Oh, my God. I think this kid is dead. Call the meat wagon. He's out. Jerry Morrow picked him up. Well, Joe, this is getting sicker by the minute. You know I like it when it gets like that.
He could have counted up to 10 right there. They're teaching this kid a lesson. Mighty Pharaoh right out of it. He's out of commission on the side there. And I'll tell you right now,
Joe, it's a Cobra clutch. This kid is going to go out. This puts the pressure on the carotid artery. I think the kid is trying to tap, but he's too stupid to count to three.
Referee, ring the bell already.
This thing is choking this guy out with the Indian Cobra hold with the Cobra clutch. He made this move famous when he was North American mid-heavyweight champion. Look at this kid. This kid has never looked so good in his life with those ugly eyes closed. He's going out. They're checking him.
It's all over.
They better pull this off. This kid is in a lot of trouble. Call the meat wagon, Joe.
One of the most devastating moves in professional wrestling, and you saw what happened. A wrestling lesson, and who knows if Paulo will ever return. Whether you like him or not, they're the IWA Tag Team Champions, Gamma and Champagne Jerry Morrow.
The fact is, all cars are targets for cars.
19th at 8 p.m. on Channel 5.
And the Champagne men, we go back to our country after that. Now the IWA call us, ask us, please, we want some good quality wrestling in Canada one more time. I come down here from Karachi, Pakistan. The Champagne Jerry Morrow, my good friend, come down here. Right away, we win the IWA Championship titles. You know, since we come here, we look over our right shoulder, we look over our left shoulder, we see no competition. We look up in the air, and we look between, we see a little bit down there, but still we see no competition in Canada for us. We don't want to be here, waste our time. I want to tell the IWA promoter, bring some good wrestlers into this ring so we can prove ourselves and show the world how good, how great we are. That's what we want. We want quality wrestlers, and we don't see too many right now.
Are you saying then that you've got an open contract here in the IWA to defend the belts?
We have never, ever ran from a match. We never backed down from anybody in our entire lives. We go in the ring, we fight fair, we fight square. We don't do anything illegal. Everything is by the rules. At the end of the match, the referee raised our hands in victory all the time.
Champagne, a couple of guys around here named Adam Impact and Chi-Chi Cruz would like to get a shot at these belts.
If you take it that way, the contract is open. Mr. Condero is there. Just tell him we ready. We no back up for nobody. When Chi-Chi Cruz, when everybody you have, when one after one, we ready for them. They start to the top, and they will fall down. And when you go higher, you go, the harder you fall.
Well, Gamma, like I said, Chi-Chi Cruz, Adam Impact.
I don't care who they are. Like my friend Champagne says, it doesn't matter who you bring inside this ring against us. You can bring in that masked man that comes in the Duster Axe, Chi-Chi Cruz. We don't care, Martel, whoever they are, we will take them all on.
Alberta already in the ring. His opponent, one of my favorites of all time in the world of professional wrestling. They call him the Thrill Seeker, and you're going to see why. Lance Storm, 230 pounds from Toronto, Ontario, the big smoke hot town, if you will. And this man, one of the finest performers.
Oh, baby, Toronto is my kind of town. They call me Donnie Skydome. But I'll tell you what, Lance Storm is not my kind of wrestler. He and I have had some battles in the past, but I will say he's a fabulous athlete, one of the best in the business.
All right. going to take a look at the Thrill Seeker doing battle with Gillespie here. One fall, 10-minute time limit. And good to see this man back here in the IWA. Lance Storm now sizing him up with Gillespie. Their collar and elbow hookup backs him up into the corner. And I'll tell you, nice clean break. The way you oh, Gillespie, though. What happened there?
Well, Gillespie knows that athletically he does not stand a chance against Lance Storm, so he's just trying to roughhouse him. Boy, Storm showing a little bit of aggression. Couple of big chops there, Joe. Lance Storm has become a lot more aggressive since the last time we've seen him.
No more Mr. Nice Guy, if you will. There's the side kick.
Beautiful side kick, Joe, and Gillespie is picking his teeth up off the mat, and he's looking for the bust that just ran over his face.
Well, you're seeing a lot of that in the new trend in professional wrestling, especially here in the IWA. You're seeing a lot of that Mexican, more Japanese styles maneuvering with the planches. You've seen in weeks before with a lot of the kicks. Now you're seeing a lot of that.
Well, you're seeing a lot of guys who wrestle all over the world, but I'm not the only one. We talked about Jericho wrestling in Japan. Storm spent 6 months in Europe wrestling some of the best Japanese competitions. Storm's been in Japan. He's been to Lebanon. He's been all over the world, and he picked up a little bit. It's like a catch-as-catch-can style. It's a hybrid style of fighting, so that's what we're seeing leading into the 21st century.
Twisting up that arm now of Gillespie. Gillespie turning things around here. Whip and Storm into the ropes now, and look at that monkey flipping. Showing some great balance. Another side kick there.
Spinning roundhouse kick, Joe. I'll just correct you there real quick because you know I have an extensive martial arts background. Lance Storm, really one of the greatest athletes, a real mouthy little punk, but a real great athlete. Played university varsity volleyball for the University of Waterloo and the University of Wilfrid Laurier. And Joe, he's got the greatest vertical leap since Michael Jordan. And what an athlete, but I'll tell you what, he's a mouthy punk just like you.
That's the face lock on right now. Gillespie showing a little bit of maneuvering there. Sizing up Storm, working over that arm a little bit, landing with the knee, and that's what a guy like Gillespie has to do, take advantage when he can find a loophole.
I'll tell you what, Joe, Gillespie's tough. He's an amateur wrestling champion, but at 130 pounds, he's peaked up to 220, and I think some of it may be table weight.
Lance Storm, the Thrill Seeker. You know, sometimes I really have to wonder what I'm doing here next to you.
Look at the missile from Storm, jumping missile, shoulder tackle, and now a beautiful elbow, and that could be all from Mr. Gillespie. I almost said jabroni.
That is the first time, I have to agree with you. I have seen some fools in that ring with the Thrill Seeker, Lance Storm. The man from Toronto, 230 pounds, of course, made a tag team up with Chris Jericho before. Those two men both wanted to go the singles route, but like you mentioned, they can tag up anytime.
Oh, look at that. He poked, beautiful move. Greco-Roman poke to the eyeball.
Yeah, very scientific, Maxwell, very scientific. Gillespie now on top of things, and Storm, sliding under, beautiful maneuver there. Set him up here, backward, holy cow.
Beautiful, Inoki side kick to the back of the head. Lance Storm is just showing that he is just in a totally different class in terms of athletics with his Steve Gillespie, who's a solid performer, Joe.
That was an unbelievable kick there. Big back body drop now, picking up Gillespie high in the air now. Set him up. That's Porter.
Right to the forehead. I mean, that's the greatest drop kick since jumping Jim Brunzell. He would never do that to me, mind you, but he's in there with Steve Gillespie.
Irish whip coming into the turnbuckle now. Look at that there. Beautiful.
Handspring, round-out clothesline, Joe. One of the toughest moves to execute, but you can see Lance Storm setting him up. Powerplex. Joe, that's his new finishing move. That's his new finishing move.
Stick a fork in Gillespie. He's done like dinner. Your winner, the Thrill Seeker. You can see why he has that name. Lance Storm on the IWA. You're going to see more on this young man. They call him the Thrill Seeker. Take a good look. You're going to be hearing a lot about these two individuals. Could you imagine if they met up with none other than the IWA heavyweight champions? I don't know who you'd cheer for in that one. Wow. If they took on Gamma and, of course, the Champagne Man.
I'll tell you what, a real clash of styles there. But if you look at Flowers and Joey Legend. Flowers has done a smart thing. Flowers is a very good technical wrestler, but he really likes to brawl. He doesn't like to use a bunch of Greco-Roman scientific holds. He likes to punch. He likes to kick. He likes to throw forearms and knees. This Joey Legend here, though, he's a big guy, he's 250, but Joe, he can fly. I've seen him fly around the ring, so he can do all that flying stuff. Meanwhile, Flowers comes and he knocks some sense into people, and he's knocking some sense into Paulo Paulo.
I was going to ask how Paulo Paulo and the Pitbull Kid, the young man in the blue tights from Hanover, Germany, would fare in this one against the so far, so good against the Street Fighter. This Pitbull Kid is tenacious like a pitbull. Look at him go now to work on the veteran Flowers. A big back body drop, and the big man from Hell's Kitchen, you might as well get out of the kitchen. There's a lot of heat there right now, and this Pitbull Kid is unbelievable. Take a look at, he just got a big size 12 to the chops, and look at that. Flowers from the ropes there. That is why this man has always been known as one of the toughest men in professional wrestling, Diamond Timothy Flowers. And I'll tell you what, he must cut like a knife. Just tagged in already. Some fast tags going on between Legend and Flowers. Natural, unbelievable.
Well, Joe, I'll tell you what, a little trivia for you. Pitbull Kid, he's in there. I gave him his first professional match in his hometown of Hanover, Germany, and I beat his butt in front of all the hometown ignorant German fans. But I'll tell you what, he's only 17 years old. He's just starting out in the wrestling business. He's got to put on some size still, but he does have some promise, and I can tell you because he learned at the feet of the master, and I'm talking about the National Joe Aiello.
All right, here we go. Some more action. Oh, Joe Legend.
Beautiful nip up into a clothesline. I told you this man could fly. He's deceptive. He looks like he should be based on the ground, but look at Flowers going up the top rope. And beautiful fist drop. That's uncharacteristic for him.
He's got that tank fist. It sizes him up with a beautiful knee drop there. We might have an early pin here. Not just yet. Flowers and Legend looking very impressive as a tag team. Cut the ring in half, making quick tags. And these two men have always got a fresh man in the ring. And a beautiful side Soto, I guess, there by Joe Legend.
It's actually a Saito suplex, Joe, but that's very good if you'd have noticed that. Beautiful move by Joey Legend. Him and Flowers, they really go for the fist drop, Joe.
I've never seen Flowers ever get up on a second strand himself. Both these tag team have been working very closely together. This is a new Diamond Timothy Flowers, more aggressive, more high flying, more impact.
Well, Joe, in the IWA, you got to be at the top of your game. You know, the last time we saw Tim Flowers, he was about 275. He's dropped about 35 pounds.
Oh,
he's getting the chair, Joe.
He's got a chair, and he is good.
Beautiful, Joe. He just hit this Eric Watts lookalike in the back of the head, and this kid looks like Eric Watts even more now because he's laying on his back.
Paulo in some kind of trouble. Legend now trying to, perform an exorcism on Paulo. Diamond Timothy Flowers, I got to tell you, haven't seen him in a few years. You're right, he's trimmed down, he's in top form. That young man must have started wrestling at the age of 15 because he's been about a 15, 20-year veteran, and he's not even 35 yet, Diamond Timothy Flowers.
He's got 34 years of age, and it's a little-known fact. You never know it from the street fighting tactics that he employs and that he loves to use, but Timothy Flowers was the New York State Amateur Wrestling light heavyweight champion.
The man grew up on the streets. I don't know if you ever get awards for the battles he must have faced in Hell's Kitchen, but nonetheless, he's made a name for himself. You know him, the Diamond one.
Nevertheless, a great amateur background. He chooses not to use it, but he is just so good at this brawling style, he really doesn't need to go into his amateur repertoire, Joe.
And let's not mistake the Diamond one with the other one from WCW and Diamond Dallas Page, because Diamond Timothy Flowers wins his matches.
Well, I'll tell you what, Diamond Dallas Page is a good athlete, but I'll tell you what, WCW could never handle Tim Flowers. Tim Flowers would start ripping people's eyes out, and he'd be on the first shuttle out of that corporate America.
Big tag here, Legend in the ring now, leg drop that measures up Apollo, and he is in trouble. He's going to have to make a tag. Like to see a little bit more of this Pitbull Kid. He must have given you a run for your money.
Well, Joe, you know, a run for your money is a relative term. I beat his ass just like I do all my opponents. But I'll tell you what, he is a promising athlete. He's only 17 years old, Joe. He's like Tracy Lawrence.
Top rope leg drop. That would be the end of most. And you could hear that little cry from Legend knocking the air right out of Apollo, and he picked him up. like a sack of potatoes.
He pulled him up. Apollo is another guy who maybe down the line may end up being a decent wrestler, a good wrestler. He's got a lot of fighting heart and desire, but I'll tell you what, he's just a little bit too green at this point, and he just got jump kicked right in the mush, Joe.
I hate to take anything away from the IWA champions. I don't necessarily agree with their style. I'm talking about the Great Gamma and Champagne Cherry Moro. But I gotta tell you, look at this. He's gonna break the leg. What is that?
Oh, Joe, this is a double submission. Knee, groin, and Achilles tendon. That'd be triple if you're counting. And I'll tell you what, this is a shoot hold. Diamond Timothy Flowers wrestles for the UWFI International Wrestling League in Japan. And that is shoot wrestling, my friend. And this young Paul Apollo will be smart to tap out, but he can't because Flowers has all his arms locked up.
I'm telling you, he's got him wrapped up like a pretzel. I don't know if that hold has a name. I just call it a lot of pain. Diamond Timothy Flowers. I was talking about their tag team chances. I gotta tell you, these two men have to be ranked #1. I don't usually put my name to a lot of things, but that is one impressive tag team. You're gonna hear a lot more from them. They're called the Street Fighters.
Joe, the Street Fighters are impressing me, and you know that. Look at this kid. Now look at that, Joe. They should disqualify that skinny little runt right now.
No tag made between Legend and Flowers. They got the fresh man in, and he's gonna wrap them up. And he's trying to lock up the same hole. He's got him stretched out. That's a form like of some kind of a abdominal stretch.
Spit it out, Joe. Look at the mug on Flowers. These are beautiful. How'd you like him to come pick up your daughter for the prom?
Flowers hasn't even taken his earrings out for this match.
Joe, you got to be tough to wrestle with earrings, is all I can say.
The Street Fighters, ladies and gentlemen, I'd say they're ranked #1 in the tag team wars here in the IWA, and I'll tell you, they'll give Gamma and Moro a run for their money. This has been unbelievable. Taking a look at them, Joe E. Legend and the Diamond one, Diamond Timothy Flowers. Apollo coming to life a little bit. This kid is showing some fight. I gotta give him credit for that.
He's showing some stupidity because he just hit a back body drop. He should have made the tag to the pitbull runs on the apron, but instead he went for the pin. You are not going to pin one of the Street Fighters with a back body drop, Joe. And now this punk is getting what's coming to him, and I love it.
Yeah, you're right. He did make a mistake. Look at that. He made the tag. Here comes the pitbull kid, 200 pounds from Hanover, Germany, and Flowers putting on the brakes. And here goes the kid to work, the pitbull, the tenacious one, if you will. Look at him go to work.
Close fist, Joe. There's a close fist. And I hope they knock the crap out of this little punk.
Look at him go to work on Legend now. He was hitting the Flowers so fast I couldn't even keep count. Look at him picking him up now, jumping over Legend. And he just got kicked through the post there by Flowers.
Curse up this little punk, Tim.
Here we go. Set him up. Is he setting him up for a pile driver?
This could be their big finish. They've been banned from 5 states. And no, they didn't do it.
Just a double sledge.
Setting it up for the Spike Diamond driver, Joe. Probably the most devastating move in pro wrestling today.
Well, you know, they're setting him up, but this kid is going to work. The pitbull kid, made a tag. Might have been a little too soon. Maybe not enough recovery time for Apollo. Flowers.
He tagged Polo, and I think we may see the big finish. Oh! Broken neck, fit him for a halo, Joe. It's all over.
You don't even have to pin him. You can count to 1,000 if you like. The maneuver, one of the most devastating in professional wrestling, the Spike Diamond driver, Joe E. Legend, Diamond Timothy Flowers. Good night for the competition.
I think we better call a priest for Polo.
Tag team titles may be on the way for the Street Fighters.
Channel 5.
Wrestling fans, time for the natural challenge. You can see his bodyguard, his friend, if you will, Bad News Allen, making his way to the ring with the IWA Heavyweight Champion, the Natural. And you might remember the last time we had a natural challenge, the Natural picked somebody out of the crowd, put him in the hospital, gave him a beating with Bad News. There might even be assault charges pending on these two individuals you're taking a good look at right now in the ring, and you can hear the fans. You got it. He certainly does, as far as I'm concerned. Let's see what he's got, well, in his hat tonight. The Natural Challenge.
All right, Natural, what is it you're doing out here again, and what's with the hat and the bodyguard?
Come on, speak up already.
Don't start up on me.
What do you want to know, little man?
What is it with the hat?
What is it with the hat? Well, tonight, since I have my new bodyguard, Bad News Alan, I'm feeling a little bit braver than I normally would. In fact, I'm feeling like I could take on anybody in this building.
Well, he's not going to do that again. Not another fan. Come on. Pick
Like
out a
I
competitor.
said, I'm feeling pretty brave. So tonight, I know that a lot of you people have said that I'm a closet champion. That I know a lot of you people think that I am afraid of Rick the Model Martel.
You certainly, I'll have to say I am. I'm one of those people.
So, just to show what kind of a magnanimous individual I am, just to show that Bad News and I are not afraid of anyone in that dressing room or in this building.
Come on, pick out Chris
And
Jericho.
just to show that I'm not a closet champion, I have in my possession a hat. It's an ugly hat. It's not mine, very obviously. It belongs to one of you hillbillies. It's one of those straw hats you wear down on the farm.
Come on, stop your talking.
So I have a hat, and in this hat, I have the name of each and every wrestler. You keep your nose out of it, you little troll.
How about the Thrill Seeker? How about maybe the Great Native Star, Thunder Warrior, maybe the Mighty Pharaoh?
In this hat, I have the name of each and every wrestler in that dressing room. Rick Martel's name is in here.
All right.
Chris Jericho's name is in here. Lance Storm's name is in here. Jerry Morrow's name is even in here.
Oh.
So, Bad News is going to reach his hand into this hat, and he is going to pull at random someone's name.
All right. We're
The
in
name
for
that is
one.
pulled out of the hat will receive a shot at me tonight, and that's what the Natural Challenge is all about. So Bad News, if you would, my friend, let's see who the lucky contestant is going to be tonight.
All right, no time to prepare. We might even have a new champion. What the heck's he laughing at?
Oh, come on, tell me. What's so funny, News? You got it?
Getting a little
What is
cocky,
it?
I'd
Who
say.
is it? Is it Jericho? Is it?
I can't believe it, Natural.
Come on,
Of
Tony.
all the people, Jericho, Storm, Chi-Chi Cruz, Jerry Morrow, you select Mr. X.
Oh, come. Mr. X, this has to be rigged. There's probably about 20 Mr. X's pieces of paper in there. Mr. X.
You know,
The last...
we've seen Mr. X come out here before. You know, the only guy who wears a mask, he wears the mask because he gets beat so many times he can't show his pathetic hillbilly face when he goes to his 9-to-5 job. Look at him.
I can't even argue with the Natural in this case. He's never won a match, Mr. X.
He's got news. He's got a judo gi on. He's insulting you.
This is almost a waste of television time as far as I'm concerned.
Look at this geek here.
They're ridiculing Mr. X now, the wrestling, the Natural Challenge, my foot.
Oh, Lord. Okay, listen to me now. Bad News, let's just take a look at this idiot. Let's take a, oh my, look. Can't you even wash your little karate outfit? Do you even know any karate? Look at him. Look at this stupid-looking mask he's got. He got it at the Walmart for $2 on sale. Bad News, let me tell you something, my man. You know what? I don't think that I really need to bother you watching my back with Mr. X. I'm sure.
Mariani could beat Mr.
I tell you
X.
what, brother, you go in the back and you put your feet up and you relax and watch me wipe the mat with this jabroni idiot right here. I'm going to teach him a wrestling lesson. Bad news, you go. You got the night off tonight, big man.
Well, sounds like the Natural might have the night off to Mr. X. I mean, this has to be rigged. The Natural challenged my foot. Unbelievable. He says the title's on the line. He's trying to make a mockery here of the IWA Championship Committee.
You know what this is, huh? You're in the big time now. Huh? Let me just show it to him so he knows exactly. You see this? Would you like this here? I don't think you would. You know what? Look at that. You could never wear that. Yes!
Mr. X has never won a match here in the IWA or probably in his whole career.
Look at you. You're a disaster. You got your little gi, huh? Who do you think you are? Look at him. He's pathetic. He's pathetic.
We can only, I guess, show our support for the underdog in this case, no matter what the odds are.
Look up when I talk to you, piece of crap.
Well, now that's getting a little ridiculous. No man deserves that kind of abuse.
Look at him. Look at him. He's a piece of garbage.
The Natural now getting maybe a little too carried away.
You're in here with the Natural. You are in here with the Natural, you stinking puck.
Here we go. The Natural challenge, I guess, is look at Mr. X. Holy cow, Mr. X. Unbelievable. I can't believe this man has never won a match. Mr. X is going to work on the IWA champion. Mr. X, I've never seen this man last 1 or 2 minutes in the ring. He was getting abused, and now the Natural giving bad news tonight. Awful. I'll tell you who's facing the bad news. Holy cow. Hey, that's Rick Martel. Unbelievable. I can't even talk. Rick the Bottle Martel pulling a fast one on all the great wrestling fans in the Natural. Unbelievable. Bad news. Came back out here. Rick the Bottle Martel. Holy cow, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I can't even speak. Take a look at this. The fans going berserk. A lot of followers here of Rick Martel. And this could be the end of the Natural challenge. Holy cow, I can't believe it. Rick the Bottle Martel pulling. Probably, well, I'll tell you what, a fast one. The Natural probably never been duped like this before in his entire career. The fans are, come on, Natural. The belt's on the line. Get back in the ring, you chicken. You can hear the fans all over him. Taking a night off. Trying to make a mockery out of the IWA Championship Committee. Unbelievable. Rick Bottle Martel. I thought we were going to have a new champion, and the mask came off, and there he is, one of the true competitors. Rick the Bottle Martel, the Natural. That's not the last we heard of the war between two of the finest. IWA Wrestling Network scheduled for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. Making his way to the ring is none other than the War International Junior Heavyweight Champion, Lionheart Chris Jericho, 224 pounds. Out of Los Angeles, California. Natural, a very big success, this young man in Japan. And let's not forget that he made a name for himself in North America, wrestling for none other than Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Oh, Joe, he and Lance Storm were a tag team in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. They were the hottest tag team ever in Smoky Mountain Wrestling since the Rock and Roll Express. But Chris Jericho has since gone on to become the War International Junior Heavyweight Wrestling Champion of the world. And as you see,
that gold belt, that signifies that he is the best junior heavyweight in the world. And we have him right here in the IWA, Chris Jericho Lionheart.
And Lionheart has taken on Steve Gillespie, 220 pounds out of Calgary, Alberta. A man that can't be taken that lightly. I'll tell you one thing about Jericho, though. If a man like Jim Cornette, who runs SMW Smoky Mountain Wrestling, was impressed with him and Lance Storm as a tag team known as the Thrill Seekers back then, you got to know that this is going to be one of the top stars in the game today, if not already one of the great junior heavyweights.
Joe, I've mentioned this in the past. You know, Chris Jericho has asked us not to mention him as part of a tag team entity known as the Thrill Seekers. He's gone on and he's tried to become a singles wrestler, and he's done very well for himself. But, you know, we shouldn't keep referring to it. I think making reference to it once is fine, but we don't need to beat it to death. He's a singles wrestler now and very successful.
Well, I'll tell you right now, you know, there was a bit of an aggressive change in Chris Jericho a few weeks back, and I brought up the whole tag team aspect with Jericho, and, you know, him and Lance. Oh, cow, unbelievable!
Spinning flying wheel kick, Joe, right to the face of Steve Gillespie. He ain't gonna get any uglier, but it almost knocked him out.
And Jericho almost shunned me from that interview when I was trying to talk to him about his days with Lance Storm. What's all that about?
Well, Joe, you know, you bother people. I've been telling you that for years.
Here we go, leapfrog now, Lionheart, clothesline.
He just necktied him. I mean, Jericho has just impressed me so much since he's come back here. You know, I've wrestled both he and Lance Storm in the past, but I'll tell you what, Jericho is very impressive, very aggressive. He's gone from being a real pretty boy, babyface type of a guy like Lance Storm to kind of a psychotic rock and roll Chris Benoit, if you will.
Well, I'll tell you what, I always loved him as a tag team competitor with Lance Storm, but what an impressive singles record he has put together, not only in the IWA, but all over the world. You don't get to hold a title in Japan as the War International Junior Heavyweight Champion unless you're one of the best.
I tell you what, Joe, I mentioned before he was recently, last year actually voted the #7 junior heavyweight in Japan. And if you're talking about guys like Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, Chris Benoit, Jushin Thunder Liger, Shinjiro Otani, some of the greatest junior heavyweights in the world. And Chris Jericho is right at the top of that list. And I'll tell you what, he doesn't look like a junior heavyweight, Joe. He looks like a professional bodybuilder. And look at the blood coming from the mug of Steve Gillespie.
Yes, Gillespie has been cut open a bit. And look at this maneuver right here, working on the small of the back of Gillespie, getting stretched out, if you will, by Lionheart Chris Jericho.
Very good, Joe. You know, I'll tell you what, that's a submission move. And if I'm right now, Jericho's going to start laying the boots to Steve Gillespie.
Short suplex coming there, a snap suplex, if you will, that does a little bit more damage to that lower back of Gillespie. And Lionheart, Chris Jericho, got the crowd behind him, showing a little bit more aggression since he got back here to the IWA.
He's trying to hook right here, Joe. He's trying to hook his man into a stretch plum. And what he needs to do is get that other free arm that Gillespie has there and hook it with his leg and then cross-face him and get it in real tight. He doesn't have it real tight, Joe, but that was the move he's trying to get a stretch plum. And Gillespie may have tapped if he had hooked it.
I'll tell you what, give Gillespie some credit for lasting this long so far in this match with Jericho, who maybe telegraphed that maneuver a little bit, took his time going into the corner, and now Gillespie trying to take advantage of a situation. Oh, hook to the eyes there. I'll tell you what, you're getting a good look right now at the Lionheart, Chris Jericho, and that mane of his, and I'll tell you something, good to see that man being successful, because I'd hate to see what he spends on hair products in a month.
Well, Joe, I'll tell you what, Chris Jericho, you know, he's the type of guy like myself. I've told you, when you have hair like the Natural, or even hair like Chris Jericho, I go out to the bar and people mistake me for Brad Pitt all the time.
Brad Pitt? I'd mistake you for an armpit. How's that?
Oh, Joe, that's very funny for a man that when he takes his shirt off, looks like he's wearing a sweater vest.
Unbelievable.
Look at this, Joe. He's trying to hook him for a top rope Frankensteiner, but look at Jericho with a headbutt.
A headbutt's going to change the mind of Steve Gillespie, and now look who's up on the staircase now. Lionheart, Chris Jericho. Gillespie in a bit of an all-flying drop kick from the top rope. What impact that had, and Lionheart is back on fire. Somebody woke up the Lion.
Unbelievable drop kick. There, corkscrew elbow right under the chin. And Jericho now, he's got to learn not to worry about the hillbillies in the audience, Joe, and stay on his opponent.
Lionheart, Chris Jericho going to work now. Look at that, beautiful.
Oh, that That's called a fisherman buster, and that's another move he's picked up in Japan. Unbelievable athlete. Joe, it's a lion salt! A lion salt! That's the end.
I'll tell you what, the Lion does not sleep tonight in the makes of Lionheart Chris Jericho, and I'll tell you what, you were talking about fishing, and that's all Gillespie's got left, maybe a little bit of a fishing trip. Your winner, Lionheart Chris Jericho, on IWA In Your Face Wrestling.
What a performer, Joe.
Welcome back to IWA Hardcore Wrestling action on the IWA Wrestling Network. Joe Aiello here in studio this time out with the IWA Heavyweight Champion, the natural for all the great wrestling fans out there that might have missed this a couple of weeks ago by popular demand. All the cards, letters, phone calls coming in for the Ultimo Dragon. His first time here from Tokyo, Japan was just a couple of weeks ago. He faced the man you're looking at right now, Lionheart Chris Jericho, 224 pounds from Calgary, Alberta, studied under the Hart Wrestling Camp out there, and he, of course, is the IWA War Junior Heavyweight title. And for the background, of course, the Ultimo Dragon, is that not the man that Chris Jericho won the belt from?
Yes, they've traded that belt back and forth, Joe, in Japan and in Mexico over the last year. And Chris Jericho really first came into his own as a real internationally recognized superstar through his series of matches with Dragon. Because as you know, Joe, you only get better by facing the top competition, like the Ultimo Dragon here in the IWA.
I'll tell you what, I've seen a lot of them come and go in the world of professional wrestling over the last 10 years. And I'll tell you what, this young man blew me away a couple of weeks ago. Ultimo Dragon, 205 pounds from Tokyo, Japan. You're taking a good look at him. The physique, the strength, the agility, you're going to see it all in this one against Lionheart Chris Jericho, a young man that's made a name for himself not only in Canada, but of course in Mexico. Japan took a different approach before making a name for himself in the United States now under Extreme Championship Wrestling, better known as ECW to the hardcore wrestling fans.
To the hardcore wrestling fans, ECW is like the IWA South. Chris Jericho is down there wrestling in Philadelphia, and he's known there as the last survivor. Chris Jericho is the last survivor of the Hart family dungeon in Stu Hart's basement, which is legendary in the annals of pro wrestling history.
You're just joining us, the IWA War Junior Heavyweight title on the line in this one. One fall with the 30-minute time limit, and don't be surprised if these two young men take up the whole time.
I'll tell you what, these two are an incredible pair of athletes that wrestle very well together. Both know each other very well. Jericho with a huge strength advantage. Dragon, although Jericho is very quick, Dragon is sudden. You won't see anyone in the sport quicker than Ultimo Dragon, as you're seeing an example of right now.
Some beautiful gymnastics there. Irish whip coming maybe off the ropes. Reversal, duck under. Here we go. Another duck under. Holy cow, leapfrog kind of over him. And now a roll off the ropes there. A leapfrog. I can't even keep up with this kind of action. Duck under and a big kick there that lands. Holy cow, Natch.
Spinning back heel kick by Dragon. That's one of his signature moves, and he's got about 100 of them. So this is incredible. This is Lucha Libre style action, very fast paced. And look at that, right back onto his feet, Joe, the gymnastic ability, and now the Takata kicks. See, Dragon can go to the air, he could do the gymnastic stuff, but he could also lace you with those stiff kicks.
You know what's great about these two men? They didn't take a lot of time sizing each other up because they faced each other on a few occasions in Japan and Mexico. You're seeing them here this week. By the way, if you're not familiar with War, that, of course, would be a group in Japan, Natural. Tell us a little bit more.
That's right. War basically translates very loosely, I might add, into wrestle and romance. It's one of the big leagues in Japan. There's clearly something lost in the last part of that translation. However, having said that, Genichiro Tenryu, who is the owner of War, is one of the biggest stars in Japan, a legend in Japan, and that is his group, and Dragon and Chris both work for that promotion.
Well, we know how seriously the Japanese regard wrestling out there. The IWA here bringing that kind of flavor to you in this one. Look at this vertical suplex, the strength of Jericho, the Lionheart holding up Ultimo Dragon for this one, and he finally spills him down to the mat. That one had to do a lot of damage.
He held him up there, let him think about it for a while, let the blood rush to his head, and then dropped him. That's a very painful maneuver. You can black out very easily for that. Now you see he's trying to hook him in a bit of a judo choke here, but I don't think he he has it hooked in. It's very hard to get a grip on one of those masks.
I'll tell you what, these two young men have met each other many occasions back and forth, just like this match is telling its tale. And there we go now. Jericho looking to do some high-risk maneuver here. Lands, holy cow, that knee right across the larynx or sternum area there, Natch.
Slingshot splash by Jericho. That's a very good move, and a good move for him to use on Ultimo Dragon. He doesn't want to try to match speed. Oh, my God. Well, that's beautiful, Joe. Stiff kick right to the back. I was going to say he doesn't want to try to match speed with Dragon because there's no one in the sport who can. Jericho needs to take advantage of his large strength advantage that he has.
I'll tell you what, this is the kind of action week in, week out you're going to see here on the IWA, and you will see more of this in weeks to come. IWA War Junior Heavyweight title match. Ultimo Dragon, our first look at him here on the IWA. In the green and yellow trunks with the mask, the Lionheart, Chris Jericho from Calgary, Alberta, in the yellow and black trunks. Take a good look at both these young men, because I'm telling you, these two men could end up to be two of the top super junior heavyweights in the world, if not already.
They're already two of the most highly regarded, and again, the IWA War Junior Heavyweight title, probably the most prestigious in the sport. And as you can see, Jericho doing something that I don't think is very smart, going to the fans. You know, I'm a big advocate of getting the fans excited in a match, but against a guy like Dragon, you just don't want to give him any breathing room.
Get the fans excited. I think everybody knows the taunting that went on, as you saw earlier on in the program. I'm still surprised.
Joe, let me tell you, it's not my fault that people cannot control themselves when they're around me. I've had that problem all my life.
If I've ever been disappointed in the disciplinary committee, that was a time. Look at this beautiful handstand there. Holy cow, head scissors. A bit of a hurricanrana there. Takedown, Irish whip off the ropes. Tilt the world, head scissors. And holy cow, the Dragon has come to life in this one. Drop kick that lands, and I don't know if Jericho, who's faced this man many times, saw that in the repertoire before.
Joe, the action is almost too fast to call, and oh my God, they're really lacing each other with those kicks.
Stiff as they've been ever here in the IWA, those Takata kicks, and now a half Boston crowd sort of working over the side on Chris Jericho, the champion at this time, against the former champion.
Joe, you know, I'm very impressed with both these individuals. You know that I'm known as the Jerry Jones of the IWA. If I see a Deion Sanders, I'll go out and sign him. You know, Bad News and I aren't always just going to be two people. In fact, I think that I may have to try to sign both of these individuals, because they'd be tremendous assets to my team.
I think I'm a pretty good judge of character. Both these young men will have nothing to do with you and Bad News Brown. I can tell you that right now.
Joe, all I got to do is go to see these two individuals, dress the way I dress the way Bad News dressed, with a whole lot of money, and all I got to do is say to Chris Jericho, Ultimo Dragon, have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Yes,
you will be seduced, Joe.
An Indian death lock into a bridge and putting a lot of pressure with a front face lock. Natural, what's going on here?
This is an unbelievable hold, Joe. He's got those legs figure four, the reverse figure four. He's cranking back on the chin. And as you can see, a very high bridge. The higher the bridge, the more pressure he's able to put on the neck of Chris Jericho.
Tell you what, some great camera angles here in this one. The Ultimo Dragon taking on Chris Jericho. One fall, 30-minute time limit. Kelly Russell, your referee for this one, and we've seen nothing but non-stop wrestling action. Both tactical maneuvering, natural, and a lot of high-risk stuff as well.
Well, yeah, both these guys very well schooled on the ground, and also very well schooled, obviously, in the air. And as you can see,
holy cow, that one had to have almost snapped the neck and the back of the Ultimo Dragon. There's no give.
I'll tell you, a drop kick to the back of the head while the man is sitting down, a very innovative move. It's actually very basic, but I've never seen it done before except in this match.
Got to tell you what, got to know the Lionheart Chris Jericho over the last few years that he's been in the world of professional wrestling. There was a sumo bump there, but a reversal by the Ultimo Dragon that goes onto the offense now, and holy cow, just picked him up. Luckily to hold on and get on the apron there, but look at this spot. We could have a pinfall. Only a 2 count there, and the Dragon back up to his feet.
Another sumo bump by Dragon, and there he goes, and that's a Lion-style press. That's Chris Jericho's finishing move, and Dragon just trying to beat him with it. A definite lack of respect shown to Chris Jericho by Ultimo Dragon.
Great agility shown by both these two young men in this one. Up top, maybe, here we go. The Ultimo Dragon maybe taking a little bit too much time. Doesn't need the fan approval here in this one against Chris Jericho. Holy cow, right hand that stuns Ultimo Dragon.
This is getting dangerous, Joe. They're both up on the top turnbuckle, and I don't know who's going to suplex who here. This is unbelievable.
Here we go. Holy cow, he just drop kicked him from a standing position on the top rope. I've never, ever seen that in professional wrestling. I'm surprised the Ultimo Dragon is back up on his feet. Look at this now. Springboard plancha off the top. Natural, we got to take a break. See what these two men are up to. IWA Junior Heavyweight title on the line. More action right after this short timeout. Holy cow. We are back on Hardcore, and ladies and gentlemen, these two men just getting back in the ring. Before we took the break, unbelievable high-risk maneuvering from Chris Jericho, who has taken advantage of this one, wrapping him up here. Natural, what do we have here?
Oh, this is a big mess of a hold, actually. He's got about 3 different submissions on here. We've titled this thing the Lion Stretch, for lack of a better description, Joe.
Oh, my God, it looks like a game of Twister.
I bet you've had a few of those.
No, not me. I was looking more along your lines here, Natural. You're the bachelor. IWA War Junior Heavyweight title match. A lot of pressure being applied in more than one point here into the body of the Ultimo Dragon, who gets one of those legs over to the rope, and probably a smart move in this one.
Very smart move by Ultimo Dragon, and, you know, to reach the ropes, he's going to break that hold. Chris Jericho needs to stay on top of this man, though. It looks like he's got him hurt.
Tell you what, we are past the 15-minute mark. This one's scheduled for 30. That leaves us halfway there. We have to see what happens here. The junior heavyweight title on the line. The Ultimo Dragon back on his feet. He is the challenger in this one against Chris Jericho. Has wasted too much time. Looking at the fans. Springboard drop kick. Holy cow, and that's right to the hardwood floor. Off the ropes now. What's going on here? Puts
Beautiful
on the brakes.
head and shoulders fake a la Tiger Mask into a plancha. Unbelievable action, Joe.
Put on the brakes, sort of like a quarterback would. The double pump action fake in football, and boy, did he ever deliver. The plancha. I've never seen anything like that one before. This is a Japanese, maybe Lucha Libre style match, Nat.
Joe, you're seeing a real melding of all the different styles of wrestling in this match. It is an incredible match, one of the best matches I have ever seen. And like I say, Joe, I've got my eye out for talent, new people for the team. Both these guys certainly have what it takes.
Irish whip now off the ropes. This time Jericho in charge. The Dragon back to his feet. Setting him up here. We got a couple of switches going on now. And oh, slide under there. Look at this small package. He might have him. Only a 2-count rollover. Holy rock and roll cradles. These two men are going at it here.
German suplex, Joe. German suplex into a bridge. Did he get him, Joe?
Only a 2-count. Jericho thought he saw 3 or heard 3. And the Dragon, I don't know what happened to him, but he must have smacked his head right back into the mat.
The German suplex, one of the most devastating moves. It lands you right on the back of your head. You hold it into a bridge, and it's very difficult to kick out of that move, Joe.
I'll tell you what, everybody that saw what happened earlier, how you got out of a 1-year suspension from the disciplinary committee. We also saw footage of that special interview you and I did. Holy cow, he almost kicked him through the uprights there, picking him up. Tiger bomb there. Might have him for the pin. Only a 2-count match.
Joe, you've really been working on your moves. You called that correctly for the first time in 2 years. It's a Tiger bomb. You're exactly right. Executed to perfection.
Power bomb, Tiger bomb, you can call it what you will. It all has the same effect. That's the bottom line.
Chris Jericho needs to quit screwing around with a referee. It was a slow count, there's no doubt, but it does no good to try to argue with an idiot. He needs to go, and here he is, going for his big move, the Lion Salt. Joe, he missed it.
Ultimo Dragon read it perfectly. Got out of the way. Look at this. Wraps him up there.
La Magistral, that's one of his Lucha Libre pinning combinations. That's the same move that Bret Hart beat Davey Boy Smith with at the last In Your House. Chris Jericho, by the way, a little bit of trivia, taught Bret Hart that move.
Oh, wow, interesting stuff. And so is this. More switching going on in there, and both of them fly out onto, look, you saw that. That is there's no mats here in the IWA.
Joe, can you imagine, just to go back to that last lovely little bit of trivia, Bret Hart, the so-called WWF World Heavyweight Champion, at least he was till last weekend, and Chris Jericho, one of our IWA mainstays, is teaching him moves that he can use to win matches. Joe, what does that say? I think it states quite clearly that if Shawn Michaels came here and faced the Natural, oh baby, it would be ugly.
Holy cow, I'll tell you what was ugly there. Jericho getting very aggressive after mostly a scientific affair and throwing the Ultimo Dragon into that ring post and then landing one of those stiff kicks again to the back. This has been a very stiff match.
Very, very stiff. Both these men taking real liberties with each other's bodies. You see, because there's a lot on the line here. This is the IWA War Junior Heavyweight title. But I'm fascinated with the fact that Bret Hart, after Chris Jericho, being trained in Stu Hart's dungeon by people like Brian Pillman, Chris Benoit, and Bret Hart, now is teaching Bret Hart moves. It really shows how far Jericho has come in the sport.
Absolutely, and you see some of those stylings on their aggressive approach in a lot of ways, but of course he's learned the flavor from Mexico and Japan as well, throwing that into the repertoire. This man is devoted to this sport.
Chris Jericho currently being courted by both of the big wrestling organizations, WCW and WWF. If you want more details on it, Hurricanrana, but he kicked him in the eye.
Only a 2 count. That one saved Chris Jericho.
I'll have details on Chris Jericho's personal life this week on my hotline. And look out, Joe. Snap, Hurricanrana. This could be all. He's got the leg. He's got the leg.
We got a brand new IWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion in Ultimo Dragon. What a great match this week on the IWA Natural. Unbelievable action, and I'm sure there will be a rematch in the works here between the Ultimo Dragon, the new Junior Heavyweight Champ, and Lionheart Chris Jericho. What great action. By the way, a big surprise coming up for you later. All right, there you see Rick the Model Martel in the ring. I'm going to get to ringside. We're going to stop for a station identification. Hold on, keep the cameras rolling here. We don't have time for a break. The Natural and Bad News Allen attacking from behind Rick the Model Martel. That young fan could have been seriously injured in there. Thank God for promoter Tony Condello helping up that youngster, that IWA fan. And look at this, Bad News Allen, the IWA champion, attacking Rick the Model Martel from behind when he was posing for some pictures with some fans. We were supposed to conduct an interview here with Martel. I can't believe what we're seeing after last week's incident with that unsuspecting fan. And this man, Rick the Model Martel, came to that man's rescue. That would obviously lead to this between Bad News Allen, the Natural, attacking the Model Rick Martel. This feud has been raging on for about a year now, and it just keeps getting worse and worse, more devastating week in and week out. And you hear Bad News Allen repeating now about Martel wanting to use a chair as he brought to the ring last week. We'll show you that clip again in just a few moments of what happened last week and how all this came about. But look at this headbutt in a series of punches and another, holy cow, a flurry of right hands from the Natural now to the Model Rick Martel that doesn't know what's going on. What hit him? Bad News Allen and the Natural, and I'll tell you one thing, something has to be done about this feud. It's got to come to an end. He just spat on him, for crying out loud. This keeps getting more despicable week in, week out with the Natural and Bad News Allen as they leave Rick the Model Martel lying after last week's incident. We're going to show you that clip right following this short timeout.
Now hold on here for just a second. I know we're scheduled for this match one fall with a 15-minute time limit, but no opening to the show this week. All of a sudden, some eerie video of Dr. Luther, who from my understanding has been banned from not only here in the IWA, but in other parts of the world tour. All of a sudden, the screen says Luther is coming. What's all that about?
It's a banner day for the IWA and for you and I as well, because Dr. Luther is indeed coming back to the IWA. He's been reinstated by Tim Flower's personal physician, Dr. Jason Anderson, who I understand we'll see later in the show. But Luther is coming, and you should be on guard because he's hungry. He's hungry for the taste of human flesh. I understand he likes Italian food. Maybe he'll broil your butt up with some fava beans and have you with a nice Chianti. I don't know.
Unbelievable. Dr. Luther maybe coming back here to the IWA. I can only hope not, for that matter. One of the most maniacal and the creepiest wrestlers I've ever had a chance to witness inside the squared circle. Right now, you're taking a look at the thrill seeker. Lance Storm locking up with Mike Wildside. One fall, 20-minute time limit, or 15-minute time limit, I'm sorry, television time. Natural. That gentleman in there right now, the thrill seeker, some acrobatic maneuvers there, and an arm drag takedown is one half of the War International Junior Heavyweight champions in Japan. And can you tell me
the name of his partner?
Joe, the name of his partner is Yuji Yasuroka, and they recently won the World Junior Heavyweight titles from actually Guido and Jano, who are one of the top tag teams in Japan.
You saw that young lady at ringside with the Lance Rules banner in her hands, and nice to see this man has a lot of support here in the IWA, including a lot of friends. One of those friends being a gentleman that you and your friend Bad News Ellen tried to put out of commission last week, and I'm talking about Rick the Model Martel. And here's a little news for you, mister. I have had the chance for a special a telephone interview coming up a little bit later on in the show with Rick the Model Martel.
Joe, I'm glad to hear Rick Martel's finally out of the hospital. He's back home and able to be on solid food and speak on the telephone again, even if it is to you. Rick, it's not sick at all. It's one of the greatest moments in the history of national television. Bad News and I proving once again that when you stick your nose in our business, the double OG original gangsters will kick your booty.
Well, I'll tell you right now, who's getting their booty kicked? That's Mike Wildside, the thrill seeker, Lance Storm, showing some great acrobatic agility inside the squared circle. One fall, 15-minute time limit. The Model coming up a little bit later on. Special telephone interview. We will be taking a look at this Dr. Jason Anderson you're talking about. Can you tell me a little bit about him?
Well, I'll talk about him during the match, Joe, but what I'd like to say right now, other than the fact that he's Tim Flower's personal physician, interesting dynamic in this match. Mike Wildside, obviously a hardcore rookie, very green.
He's put together, though.
He is. He was trained at the Hart Brothers Wrestling Camp the same year that Lance Storm was conducting a special guest wrestling seminar there. So it's always been Mike Wildside's fantasy to wrestle against his teacher, Lance Storm. So this is an interesting situation.
Turning out to be more of a nightmare than a fantasy here, I think, for Wildside, who's having his hands full with the thrill seeker, Lance Storm, as we mentioned, one half of the War International Junior Heavyweight Tag Team champions in Japan. And I'll tell you what, that bodes well for this young man.
Well, Lance Storm, a couple of weeks ago, we saw him reunite with Chris Jericho to form that famous tag team from Smoky Mountain Wrestling, known previously as the Thrill Seekers. They defeated the Great Gama and Jerry Morrow, a double pin, in fact, in a non-title hardcore grudge match. And I understand that was the first time and last time that Chris Jericho and Lance Storm would reunite. And Gama and Jerry are very upset because they want revenge. They feel they've been embarrassed. And I understand a real treat next week. We're going to hear from Gama and Jerry.
Oh, I can hardly wait. A great show of strength here and some agility, flexibility, if you will, from the Thrill Seeker, who turns this one around, putting a lot of pressure on the left arm of Mr. Wildside. Irish whip off the ropes, reversal now, and oh, holy cow, he landed with that boot right to the chops of the Thrill Seeker.
You can really see the Hart Brothers influence. That was a patented move of Owen Hart. There's a patented Bret Hart elbow. This guy is just all over the place with these Hart Brothers type maneuvers. But I should say about Lance Storm, you know, Lance Storm holds victories over Body Donna Skip from the World Wrestling Federation recently when they were both in Smoky Mountain Wrestling just last year. So Lance Storm, some very impressive credentials as a singles wrestler as well, Joe.
Yeah, we were talking about tag teams a few minutes ago, and I'll tell you what, speaking of tag teams, elimination tag team match. Today's main event coming up in the program. You don't dare want to miss that one. Look at that, springs himself off the top rope into a body press. Only a 2 count, though. Wildside with a little bit left. Didn't catch him too much by surprise, I guess. Reversal now. Storm in the turnbuckle, gets up that right boot that lands, and Wildside comes back with one of his own.
Lance Storm, without a doubt, one of the greatest pure athletes in the history of professional wrestling. Also, one of the biggest egos in professional wrestling. I once heard Lance Storm say, he didn't know I was listening, but I heard Lance Storm once say in all sincerity that whenever he goes into a gym anywhere in the world, he's got the best body in the gym. And I understand, Joe, he's very popular with the ladies in northern Manitoba. I heard they're thinking of putting out a swimsuit calendar of him.
Yeah, all right, and look at that drop kick there. That one patented right to the chops there of Michael Wildside. Might have him. Great close-up here. Only a 1 count, though. Enough.
I could live without another close-up of Lance Storm's ugly mug, I'll tell you that.
Here we go now, sizing him up, suplex coming perhaps, sizing him up, picking him up, vertical suplex that lands. I'll tell you what, this Lance Storm has improved 110% every time he steps foot in that squared circle. Short elbow drop there, snap elbow if you will.
Lance Storm, a very cocky individual, as I've mentioned before. I know him well. We both came up as rookies together. But he has blossomed into an incredible performer, an incredible singles athlete. And as you can see, dominating Mike Wildside. And this would be the patented Lance Storm splash. And Joe, look at that. He took it right in the face.
Absolutely. Wildside moving out of the way. I was talking about that elimination tag match. It's coming up a little bit later on. The Street Fighters, one of the premier tag teams. taking on Chi Cruz and Adam Impact, another premier tag team. That is one you're not going to want to miss.
It's been a bloody war between the four of those guys. It's been like a rerun of Braveheart. There's been so much violence involved in that thing. But I'll tell you what, two great tag teams going at it, and it's an elimination tag. So it could be 2-on-1, it could be 1-on-1, it could be anything.
Storm off the ropes now, and look at this. A monkey flip takes over Wildside, and he's turned this one around quickly. Another kick there that lands some martial arts. Being shown here by Thrill Seeker Lance Storm. A whip coming now right to the turnbuckle. Here comes the big, look at that. Wow, that one lands. The holy cow.
Handspring, round out clothesline, Joe. Patented Lance Storm move. Unbelievable athlete, Lance Storm. Too much for Mike Wildside on this day.
He's elevating himself up to the top rope now. The Thrill Seeker Lance Storm has plenty of time up there. Leg drop. Holy cow.
Hang time. My God, Joe. He's going to pin him. He's going to pin him. There's no way he's going to kick out.
And he got him. The Thrill Seeker, Lance Storm, one half of the War International Junior Tag Team Champion, looking very impressive here in singles action. Still to come, Dr. Jason Anderson in action. That interview with Rick the Model Martel, and a whole lot more. Stay right here on Hardcore. Elimination tag team action here on IWA Hardcore Wrestling. The Street Fighters already in the ring. Joe E. Legend to the left on your television set, and Mr. Hardcore, his partner, and of course Diamond Timothy Flowers. Natural, they're taking on Chi Cruz, and of course his partner Adam Impact. Elimination tag team match. Explain the rules to this one.
So an elimination tag, it starts out 2-on-2, but as soon as one man for either team gets pinned, that man is eliminated. He must then take a seat at ringside and watch the match and not participate. So it could be 2-on-1, it could be 1-on-1, it could be 2-on-2, it could be anything.
Well, somewhere down the line we're going to get 2-on-1 for sure, and right now we've got 2-on-2. Look at this. Cruz sizing him up with the Diamond Timothy Flowers. Legend facing off with Adam Impact, and already here we're going to a little meet and greet party in the middle of the ring, and this time out it's Flowers and Legend, and both of them decide to bail out. How about it? Some fast and furious hardcore action.
Unbelievable, but this match will not end in 5 minutes. This match is going to probably go the time limit, Joe, because these are two great tag teams, two of the top-ranked tag teams anywhere in the world, and we got an elimination tag. This thing could go all night.
It could. We might have to continue it next week. We'll keep the cameras rolling. We could be out of TV time before this one's said and done. Look at this. Cruz and Impact with the crowd behind them.
Joe, you may even have to preempt the Tom and Jerry show tomorrow morning.
It's Tom and Joe, and it happens, of course, Monday to Friday on 92 City FM here in Winnipeg.
Put yourself over.
Why not? Here we go. Look at this. Now they've got the Street Fighters, got a lock on Cheech and Crow. Holy cow, Mr. Hardcore. Diamond Timothy Flowers just landed at size 13 to the mush of his partner, Joe E. Legend. He's been pretty aggressive these last few weeks, Flowers.
Well, Flowers is a very volatile individual, as you can see. Well, right there, they're getting into it. These two have never completely got along. They're like two feuding brothers. And I'll tell you what, I talked to Dr. Jason Anderson after that last match. He told me that he feels that because Tim, he just threw that kid out of the chair, because Tim is becoming more aggressive, Dr. Jason Anderson feels he needs to accompany him to ringside to protect the fans from Tim Flowers.
Protect the fans? Holy cow, I think Diamond Timothy Flowers has to protect himself from himself sometimes. Here we go, Cruz and Flowers. The history behind these two speaks for itself. These two men have had a feud that's raged on. It even actually stopped for a while when they were in different territories and picked up again here in the IWA. There's Mr. Hardcore.
Mr. Hardcore, Tim Flowers, but 5 years ago, Chi Cruz was involved in an incident that saw Tim Flowers banned from Canadian wrestling for 5 years. He's back now in the IWA. He's working on that bad arm of Chi Cruz.
I would say it's a bad arm. That was the injured arm of Chi Cruz, and Cruz has informed us it's up to about 110%, but the damage has been done by Flowers over the last few weeks, and now Legend picking up where Flowers left off.
Unbelievable. Chi Cruz, a great athlete, not unlike Bret Hart in the sense that he's very technically sound. He rarely makes a mistake, always knows where he's in the ring.
Double whip coming, 2-on-1 situation, double elbow that lands, and Legend doesn't know where he is right now except his back's on the canvas, but his partner Flowers of the Street Fighters comes to the rescue.
Right now, you've got the two less experienced guys in the ring of the tag teams. Joey Legend, who's a great athlete, and Adam Impact, who we've not seen a lot of, but he's learned a lot from Chichi Cruz, including that maneuver, corkscrew, head scissor takedown.
Unbelievable action this week, elimination tag, and remember, the rules follow or sort of go like this. One man will be eliminated on a pinfall or submission, I would guess, and that would leave a 2-on-1 situation. The last, or the team with members remaining, win this match, basically.
Basically, that's it. I'm more confused now than when you started, though, after that explanation.
I'm thinking I did the same thing myself here. Look at this. 2-on-1 action. Basically, it's an elimination tag team match. That says it all.
I think, Joe, you could have just saved about 10 minutes of TV time by just saying exactly that. But nevertheless, 4 great athletes in the ring right now, 2 great tag teams. And as you can see, Flowers and Legend will stop at nothing. But look at that, arm drag, Chichi Cruz.
Tell you what, Cruz slowing down the pace a little bit while he's grinding on the arm. Both teams making a lot of quick tags.
That's what the secret to tag team wrestling. Keep the man in your corner, cut the ring in half, make a lot of quick tags, keep the fresh man in the ring.
I'll tell you what, these two teams both vying for a shot at the IWA Hardcore Tag Team Champions, and you know who they are.
They're my good friends, Great Gama and Jerry Morrow, who are very upset over that match with the Thrill Seekers of a few weeks ago. We'll be hearing from the tag team champions, Gama and Jerry, next week, and I'm so excited to hear about that. But you're right, either one of these teams could cause serious problems for Gama and Jerry. I know that they have a lot of respect for Tim Flowers and Joey Legend. I also know that Jerry Morrow hates Chichi Cruz and Gama Singh hates Adam Impact, so who knows what can happen.
Absolutely. Look at this Impact and Flowers doing battle in there, and look at the expression, the grimace of the pain in the face of Diamond Timothy Flowers. But ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you what, that face doesn't get much prettier when he's not making a face.
Well, Joe, you know, you should be very careful and hope that Tim Flowers is not allowed to have TV privileges in that nut house that he lives in during the week.
I'll tell you what, here we go, look at that. Big clothesline that lands on Impact, and they're sizing him up here. 2-on-1 action in that corner now, and a tag made. Flowers out. Legend in against Impact. Irish whip now off the ropes, and Legend going down to the ground, springs himself up, whole clothesline. Very impressive.
Beautiful nip up into a clothesline for a man 250 pounds and 6'3". Look at Chichi Cruz. Chichi Cruz interfering in the match.
Well, it could be devastating, natural, for both teams or either one of the teams if one man is eliminated. 2-on-1 either way is not good.
The damage that Joey Legend and Tim Flowers have caused to Chichi Cruz in about 3 weeks ago, I guess it was, shows you exactly what can happen when you get into a 2-on-1 with 2 great tag teams like this.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, a 2-on-1 situation for Chichi Cruz would not be any kind of a surprise for him. He's put up with these two Lugans for quite a while now.
Lugans, Joe.
You know what I'm talking about.
Hooligans.
Same thing. Look at this now. They're going to work on Impact as the referee is being distracted. We got to get something like 2 or 3 referees in a match like this.
What did you call them? Lugans?
Yeah, hooligans, Lugans, same thing.
You shouldn't disparage someone over their religion on national television, Joe.
Nothing to do with anybody's religion. This is the rock and roll religion right here, IWA Hardcore, and they're rocking and they're rolling in the ring. Joey Legend, nice chicken wing suplex that works.
Joey Legend, very scientifically sound, needs to get more ring savvy. He's getting that under the protective eye of Diamond Timothy Flowers, Mr. Hardcore.
Sloppy pin there, again a little cocky, counting out the pin as well. Only a 2 count. Impact now with that long hair. And look at this, sizing him up there, a little bit of pressure now to the neck and the temple area of Adam Impact.
That's basically a figure 4 head scissors. I don't think he's got it positioned the way he wants it, but look at this. They're going to work the referee, and this is all Tim Flowers' idea. You can just tell, vintage Tim Flowers.
Just ducking up over the referee. They're getting some added leverage. Look at this, the old switcheroo happening as Cruz is actually maybe doing a little bit more harm for his partner than any good, and there they go, back to that figure 4 head scissor.
Chichi Cruz should know better, but that's vintage, classic tag team wrestling by the Street Fighters.
And they're keeping Adam Impact in their corner. Natural, I understand you're actually spending some extra time here in the city, not only to be here on Hardcore, but are you in some kind of movie?
Joe, that's right. You know, it's exactly. Quentin Tarantino called me up. He said, I couldn't get John Travolta. Right now, I'm not sure he's the right man for the part. I need you to come to Winnipeg and star in my recent movie. I'm here for 2 weeks, Joe, and I know that we don't want to give away the location of where I'm shooting because I'll be deluge with fans. I'll be deluge with movie fans, with IWA Hardcore fans. But, Joe, that's right. I'm in town for 2 weeks shooting a movie.
You saw more of that leverage being dished out there by Diamond Timothy Flowers and Joe E. Legend. You know, I'm really glad I asked that you were in town, but 2 weeks?
Joe, what a treat.
The only thing I see shooting is your mouth off. There was a tag. Chi-Chi Cruz is in there now. That's what they needed to do, get the freshman. The referee did not see the tag, and look at this. This leaves the 2-on-1 situation, and that could happen at any given time if they pin Impact.
Joe Fiorino recently inducted into the Guinness Book of World Records for one of the oldest living referees on the planet. And he's showing his age sometimes now by not paying attention to what's going on in the ring.
He is one of the top officials, a veteran official here in the IWA.
He's about 150.
I can't believe it. We got to get a tag going here. Impact definitely has to make a tag to Cruz. He's been in there for a good 5 minutes. They need to get the freshman in there. Look at Legend. Just headbutted Impact, and he felt the full effect of that one as well.
Joe, wouldn't it be something if after this movie I'm doing for Tarantino, I won an Academy Award?
Hey, we're almost 10 minutes into this one, yet to get a pinfall in this elimination tag team match, and they're coming to the aid of his partner was Diamond Timothy Flowers. We got to take a short break, Natch. The rest of this match continues in a moment. We're back on Hardcore, this elimination tag team match. Today's main event, yet to get a pinfall or see that 2-on-1 situation that could last throughout the match. And that is what Adam Impact needed to do, get a little bit of adrenaline flowing. He's got to make the tag to his partner, Chi-Chi Cruz.
Big face buster, but I believe he's endured too much punishment to crawl over and make that tag. That's the longest 10 feet in wrestling.
I'll tell you what, Flowers wasted no time, goes right to work on Adam Impact. Elimination tag team action. Natural, I'll tell you what, we could be out of TV time before this one's all said and done.
Well, Joe, I hope you brought your tent. We may be here all night. We got two great tag teams, and Tim Flowers, as psychotic as he is, you never know what he might do. You know, I know you enjoy the little stories about Tim Flowers, the real stories. I was in South Africa with him. He went running through the hotel naked right through the buffet, got us all thrown out of the hotel.
I think he was just biting the ear of Adam Impact, who had enough sense to get out of the way. Impact might be making a mistake here. I don't know if he's got it in him to get upstairs to the top.
High-risk maneuver.
Flying body. Holy cow, Flowers turned it around, grabbed a handful of tights, and eliminated Adam Impact.
Great move by Tim Flowers. Great scientific wrestling move.
He grabbed the tights, for crying out loud. No scientific move there.
You do what you've got to do. This is hardcore, Joe. This isn't for the weak of heart.
I'll tell you what, this is not the situation that Chi-Chi Cruz wanted to find himself in. Keep your mouth quiet. You held on to his trunks, for crying out loud. Oh, there's the other one yapping now. The Street Fighters, 2-on-1 situation. They find themselves in a pretty good predicament here in this elimination tag team match against Chi-Chi Cruz.
About 10 minutes from now, Chi-Chi Cruz will be desperately looking for that last-minute desperation tag, and his partner will be seated at ringside, not able to tag him, and that is what Chi-Chi Cruz will realize. He is out of gas and in a whole lot of trouble.
Well, you know, Chi-Chi Cruz, what's going to happen here is these two young men are going to go to work on that injured arm, though. It happened in that boating accident about a year ago, and then Flowers and him met up about a month and a half ago, and look at this, Cruz. He might have him here. We might be one-on-one.
I'm sick of hearing about Chi-Chi Cruz's bad luck in his boating accident. For God's sake, he's been back for about 4 weeks, beating the hell out of everyone. I don't want to hear any more about it. What Chi-Chi Cruz needs to avoid is that devastating finishing move, the spike pile driver.
Look at this right now. He might be finishing off Joe. He landed. Holy cows. He landed those forearms as stiff as could be. Look at this Irish whip that lands right into the back of the Cruiser.
There's no way Chi-Chi Cruz could possibly keep up that pace, not against two men. And right now we're seeing Chi-Chi Cruz perhaps at the end of his rope.
One that lands right to the midsection by Flowers. Now, Adam Impact at least showing his partner, hopefully getting some life back in him, getting the fans behind him, and hopefully helping out his partner get it back to even strength.
Flowers has Chi-Chi Cruz's bad arm key locked, and that is a very difficult maneuver to get out of if you have a good arm. Chi-Chi Cruz has a bad arm, so this could be a submission right here for Tim Flowers.
Look at this, Adam Impact trying to get the adrenaline flowing in his partner, Chi-Chi Cruz, and you're absolutely right. Flowers, the man they call Mr. Hardcore, had a good lock on that arm, and look at this, a tag made. This is the situation. They can make the quick tags now all the way through and work over that arm of Chi-Chi Cruz.
In my opinion, we're seeing right now the difference between a tough team like the Street Fighters and a couple of pretty boy Teen Beat Magazine rejects like Chi-Chi Cruz and Adam Impact.
A reversal there that worked for just a little bit, then an elbow that sized up Cruz, and a field throw there, and look at this, going right back to work on the arm.
Beautiful short arm scissors, a great scientific wrestling hold, very painful on the elbow joint.
Absolutely, and that shot of Joey Legends was just painful on the eyes. Here we go, they're looking for a little leverage. Impact trying to warn the referee, the old switcheroo here again. And look at this, back to that short arm scissor.
Joey Legend. Joey Legend, sound like Tony Ganella. Joey Legend does not exactly bring back memories of Brad Pitt when you get those close-ups of his face, does he?
Yeah. Here we go, Diamond Timothy Flowers going to work on Chi-Chi Cruz. Elimination tag team match. Cruz fighting back now. Couple of right hands that land. And look at this now, sizing up Flowers with a couple of more, and a kick that lands at Flowers. And Cruz, well, Flowers went over the top rope.
He knocked him right over the top rope. That should be a disqualification on Chi-Chi Cruz. He's crazy.
I think momentum carried him over, but this is IWA hardcore. Just about anything goes in here. Who needs rules and regulations when you got men like this in the ring? And look at this now.
What's this? Adam Impact's got a hold of his leg, and he caused the count out. Tim Flowers are trying to get, what's this? Oh, my God. Oh, my God, Joe, on the concrete.
They call him Mr. Hardcore for a reason, ladies and gentlemen. Diamond Timothy Flowers was counted out, and Adam Impact was knocked out, all in a matter of 30 seconds, and Cruz almost getting a pinfall here to win the match for his team, but Adam Impact is not moving.
Tim Flowers will stop at nothing. He pile drove him on the floor. I once saw him attack Doink the Clown in a hotel in Germany, so he will stop at nothing. I'm serious.
Doink the Clown?
Doink the Clown, he beat the hell out of him, so I don't know what's going on here. Tim Flowers, we never know what he's going to do. He's a completely volatile individual.
Well, we know he's been eliminated. He's standing up on the apron now and watching his partner go to work on Chi-Chi Cruz. We're down to one-on-one.
This could be the end for Chi-Chi Cruz. This is Joey Legend's Joey Salt.
A Joey Salt. The only Salt I'd be named
Unbelievable.
after.
Joey missed it. He missed the Joey Salt. This is terrible.
He missed it, and look at this. Here we go.
Inside cradle by Chi-Chi Cruz. I can't believe it. He just beat up Joe. Chi-Chi Cruz has beat two men.
Chi-Chi Cruz has beat two men. Now those two men are going to beat on Chi-Chi Cruz. And oh no, they're going to set him up.
Joe, I love it. Joe, look, they're going to do it. The spike pile driver. Oh, God.
The diamond driver with the spike attitude there from Joe E. Legend. And I'll tell you what, Adam Impact laid out on the outside of the ring on that concrete floor after the diamond driver. And I'll tell you what, they are your winners. They may not look like it right now.
What's wrong with Flowers? He looks like he's about to have a conniption.
Hold on. We're going to find out what this is all about.
He's trying to talk, Joe. He doesn't know how to figure out that microphone.
Holy cow, ladies and gentlemen. This is not the end of this one. The elimination tag team match. Your winners, Adam Impact and Chi-Chi Cruz. Both of them are laid out. I don't know. Adam Impact will have to be taken out of here on a stretcher.
Look at Flowers. He's ready to fight anybody.
Some good news here that Chi-Chi Cruz is moving around.
I'll tell you what, I'm a little bit concerned about Adam Impact because he has not moved. That was on the concrete, Joe. I'm going to get up and just see what's going on.
Well, hopefully we can get word from at least Chi-Chi Cruz after this one's all said and done.
The best!
Chi-Chi Cruz. You guys, you know, I'm really not up for this right now. Usually after a victory, I like to go out and celebrate. But my partner just got taken to the hospital in an ambulance. And I'm really in no mood. This Flowers, you have no morals. And your partner, he's just stupid. You know, I'm sick of this. I'm really sick of this. You know, it's not about winning anymore. This is going to be a fight, you know, because I want revenge. I don't need this. I'll get you, Flowers. Joe Legend, you...